What's up, y'all? We're Inspirit.
And today we're going to be breaking down how we made our song Run.
There you are, I'm looking for the answers, I don't feel enough. I thank you for the times we had were fun. I helped you through the downs when we were faking love. I should've never been the dinner run.
So what I started with was I just started with this piano. And it was just an arpeggiated piano. That's all I started with. And I thought it was something cool. It was at a time when Inspirit was kind of trying to find a new sound, or like just a solid sound that we could always kind of stick with. And I think this is the song that really kicked it off, because me and Donnie just really enjoyed making this style of music. Run was the first hyperpop song we really made. Like just the consistent hyperpop vibe with some hip hop influence in there. And I think the key thing to making hyperpop is just layering like synths on synths, like not making it too crowded. Like we always try to keep our tracks to a minimum, just because it gets too messy if you just keep on adding tracks. But you do need to layer it a significant amount, is what me and Donnie have found. And I think that's why the song turned out so well, is just because we just knew how to layer it, but we also knew where to stop.
Synth. Off of Nexus. And then that was EQ'd. After that, added some more layers. Just kind of fill it out.
I also added an attack bass here. I'll let you take a listen. So that's just kind of meant to sit under. It's not supposed to be super in your face because you already have this. So it's just supposed to really give it a punch. That's all you really need with stuff like that. Chord layers here to just beef it up. Along with that one arpeggio. But I think it just adds a lot. It's like a hyperpop song at the end of the day, so I think it really packs a punch.
We really wanted the song to sound synthetic. I think the coolest part about it was the hyperpop drums, and that's what really kind of brought it together in the chorus. I think it's pretty dope that we were able to add that. Leading up to the chorus, we have the drums in the chorus, but with the sound kind of riser, and they're EQ'd as well, just on the high end, bringing it up to the main drums. So when those main drums do come in, it gives it kind of a more fuller feel. Along with this vocal lead from Hooked, which is just saying "There You Are."
When I pulled up to Donnie's house, one of the first things he added was this. So it's just like a little rising of a vox, and then in the chorus, it's really prominent. Then if you listen to his first vocal,
There you are, I'm looking for the answers, I don't feel.
Goes along with it. I think that's pretty cool, and that's probably something people won't notice when they're just listening to Run.
So I think that was a pretty dope idea. Through the chorus, we beefed it up even more with some brass, analog brass, and a lead. Keep it pretty simple. And then in the second half, I came in and added a simple saw, which is just EQ to get some harsh frequencies out. So Run was actually the second beat and song that we tried a beat switch up on, and Run was the first one that it actually really worked out well with us. The cool thing about a beat switch up is just the contrast, especially being a music duo. It's really cool to have two different beats basically in the song, because it just gives so much contrast and it's quite different. You have one guy doing a certain part of a song and then another guy doing the other part, and it sounds so different. So I think that's a really cool part about having a beat switch in a song, and especially when they're executed correctly.
Another thing Donnie added when I got there to his place, when I pulled up, so he's like, we need some harder hitting drums. He added these. I think they had a lot of just punch to it. This is the second verse, so this was kind of the start of Inspirit doing, like, starting off very pop like this, and then kind of sounds like a whole different song almost. Like you can tell the beat's the same, but it's just like it's just so much different. Just like the flow and stuff, and the beat just like kind of switches up. And if it didn't have like this still in it, it'd sound like a different song.
So then in the second half, we have the vocal lead once again come back in, kind of building that chorus up again, as well as the EQ drums with the audio riser. And it was a tricky kind of thing because going from those kind of drums from an 808 is sometimes difficult. We were able to kind of phase it in correctly, and it worked out pretty well. And we were able to take the 808 out right before kind of the drums, and pulling some other instruments back kind of really mask that what can be kind of an ugly transition. And so just pulling out more than one instrument kind of helped with that. Instead of just cutting the 808 straight up, we were able to kind of mask that transition, and it kind of turned out like this. So just dropping out all the drums and kind of going back to that EQ, even though the EQ drums start back here, it just flows beautifully.
I just like how there's rising drums as well as rising vocals into the chorus. It just makes such a smooth transition. I remember when we found that, we just got so hyped. Right, because the drums start coming in, the vocals are singing. So gas. Just starts off like
and I turn them to wins. I can see all the rage through their grin. Count us
just
up
building.
before we begin. Guess we got under their skin.
It's just such a hype transition into it. And then what I also like is the outro. I don't think we like overcomplicated it. We just let the music play out, because this is just such a good beat, I think, that you don't really need to add much more to it. Like, you don't need to make the outro super crazy. You just let the beat play out, and I think it'll sound nice. So it's a nice outro. Very nice. And then you just hear the shout at the end. And that's how we made the Hyperpop song Run.
Wait, what if they've gone through this whole video without seeing the Run music video?
Well, then they better go down to the description and watch the music video right now.
There you are, I'm looking for the answers I don't feel enough. I thank you for the times we had fun.